Hello everyone, Chris Beast here. In today's video, I'm going to be covering a couple more things from the update preview. In particular, I'm going to be covering all name locations on Sawmill. Season 5 is almost out, and I'm really looking forward to it, and that means you guys will be finally able to access this amazing map. So I'm just going to get straight into all these name locations, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. This name location we're going to be covering is the Foremans House. This is the most northeastern named location on the map, and it isn't that complicated. It features a regular white house, the one we're all really used to, that is on top of a decently tall hill. To the right of the house, or in front of the house, is a small blue building. There's nothing really complicated about either of these buildings, and they both have what you would expect from the white and blue buildings, respectively. There's really nothing unique inside them. Outside, there is a car spawn. Moving on to our next name location, we have to go all the way to the northwest of the map in a name location known as the Forest Clearing. The Forest Clearing is exactly what it sounds like, a giant open forest that has kind of been, cut down. It's one of the most wooded areas on this map, and it's kind of cool. I think it's very, unique. We don't really have any other place where it's just like a bunch of felled trees on any other map, and it looks pretty beautiful. Also, the sightlines on this area are quite unique. They kind of remind me of the area underneath the bridges on, Broaderline. But yeah, this area doesn't have very good loot, though, so there's no real practical reason to come here. Moving on to our next named location, we go to the storage shed, located near the middle of the map. This location is just a small little, as it says, storage shed. Not really that interesting. I mean, it looks pretty cool and it's pretty unique, but not really too much to talk about. It's also not very good for loot either. This location is this destroyed power pole, which is where I'm showing you on the map now. This location shows a upright power line and a downed one, as well as a small little truck. Again, very little loot here. Not really much of a real reason to come here, but it kind of looks cool. It's well designed. The destroyed power line is, of course, it's kind of unique. There's no other location that really looks like this. There's a small little red shack up in the hills nearby. Again, very little amounts of loot, though. This location ain't even on the map, but I'm including it, and you'll see why in a second. The location is exactly where my player crosshair is now, and I'll just wait you guys to see this. Our next name location is called Destroyed Dreams, and this name location is pretty unique. I mean, a lot more than some of the others we've covered so far. It is 2 destroyed buildings with very little loot, but I would assume that if there are boosters, these places could be decent. They kind of remind me of the burned out houses on northern, or might be southern Grontheim. Pretty cool location, but sadly not too much loot. I also really like how it's like on a hill, so you can, it just gives it a lot more atmosphere. It's much more in the zone. Alright, from here on out, I forgot to open up my map to screenshot where it is. And so yeah, this name location is in the southeast part of the map. It is called the Fishermans Settlement. It's a pretty cool location. It's pretty dense for, Sawmill when it comes to loot, houses, and everything. There's just so many houses here. I don't think we've seen anything like this besides for downtown Grontheim, but even downtown Grontheim is much more linear than this is. I really adore this location, and I can't wait for real lobbies to be able to come down here and grab tons of loot. Moving on, we have the derailed tram. This location is really cool looking, because it's right next to this cliff, and you can see the falling rocks, and really good level design here. Sadly, not a lot of loot here, but I can't complain, especially when it looks this good. Yeah. Moving on from there, we have, obviously the actual Sawmill. I'm not going to cover that in this video because there's no good reason to. We all know what the actual Sawmill looks like. Anyone who's played Shootout at least does. I'm going to talk about this much more unique location called the Workers' Quarters. The workers' quarters seems to have very high potential for a ton of loot due to the highly densely packed, these small red buildings that we've seen from the shootout map for so long. There's a ton of them, and if there's any loot boosters or just any loot, anything at all, there's going to be a lot of loot here that you can loot. And the best thing about this is that there's an exit right here, which basically means you can grab your stuff here and then go, or be ready to go and then just grab your stuff on your way out. I think it's a great level design, and I'm looking forward to this in live rounds. Moving on from there, we have the next game location, which is the Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is exactly what it sounds like, a small house, or the typical blue house, just in the middle of the woods. As you can see here, there is a comm station spawn here, but this house isn't that special. I like the fact that its back door goes straight into a cliff. I think that could lead to some interesting dynamics. But besides for that, there's not really too much to say about this house. Top of this hill that you're seeing me climb right now is the next name location. This location is called the Hide Overlook. This location is kind of interesting, I guess. It's very uniquely designed. It has, there's no other location that really looks like this too much, and it also has this weird situation with the road and this overlook. It's weird. I like it because it's unique, but it's weird. It's just different. It also has a shorter sniper tower that you can climb up and get a high ground on that large open downhill. But you can also go around here like I'm doing right now, skirt around the side of this little hill and get up on top of the hill. A really good position on anyone who's actually in the overlook. So this should lead to some interesting firefights, at least I hope. It also, is pretty well designed, and I think it looks pretty cool. Moving on to our next name location, sprinting through the forest for a little bit. You'll eventually arrive at a location very close to the workers' quarter that we just covered. That's right on the river. This is seating on a cliff. This location, I'm guessing we'll have a fire troll spawn, but besides for that, I see no reason to come here besides to admire the views. The views here are great. I even took a couple screenshots, one of which might be used in the thumbnail of this video. I'm not even sure myself, but it's just like the campsite in the woods on Fisk. Going once again, we're back in the forest. No surprise, most of Sawmill is forest, but walking through, we find the tourist rest. This location reminds me of I forget the name of the location, but one of the locations on Fisk. But this one has an amazing sightline. Anyone with a sniper rifle or someone who wants to take screenshots could do so here very easily. There's also some light loot and sometimes a comm station spawn here. So definitely worth popping over. Nearby to that previous location, wandering through the woods again, we arrive on another cool little spot just in the mountains. There's no real reason to go here. There's no loot here. It just looks dope. Honestly, think amazing battles should happen in this area because it's so vertical. You can climb up the mountains, follow the path, hide in the forest. I really cannot wait to see firefights here. You have all those weird overlapping trees that you can climb on top of. You have the fact that you can go underneath the large slate rock that's there. The potential is literally limitless here. The forest nursery is exactly what it sounds like, a bunch of small, young trees. I like this location. I don't like it a lot, but I think it's unique and a cool idea for a location. Smaller trees than the rest of the forest. While it doesn't really change up gameplay too much, I do think it looks cool. I also think it's quite interesting that this location borders the railroad that runs across the sawmill, which, it might give it some interesting, combat dynamic, as the railroads are seemingly going to be the main combat lines of this map. House near railroad is a house located just north of the traditional sawmill. Location's pretty cool, but there's not really too much going on here besides for a normal White House spawn and a normal Red House spawn, as well as sometimes a disruptor tower or possibly safe. But yeah, I guess those are cool POIs, but not really anything unique. Final named location on the map is a place called Camping Disaster. This place features a dead body that's been crushed under a rock, as well as a gravestone, which means this is really a ultimate disaster that occurred here. There are 2 tents here, so we can assume that both of the 2 residents that lived here died. But that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my slight tour of Sawmill. And yeah, sorry I couldn't do better. I wanted to get screenshots of every location on the map. I just didn't really have time as we are rapidly approaching the release of the new season. Hope you guys enjoyed.